Hello again, and we're going to be testing a FIC PA2013 ATX mainboard. It is a Super Socket 7 board running a VIA chipset. I can't read the number with that sticker on there, but I'm going to leave that sticker on the board. I just like how it looks. To test this board, we're going to use the AMD K6-2 500 AFX. It has 2.2 volt core and 3.3 volt IO voltages. It says copyright 1998. Now to install the processor, just lift this arm, and then on the processor itself you can see there's a corner with what looks like a pin missing. There's also a spot on the socket. Line those up and just gently drop the processor in place and lower the arm. The processor is going to need a fan. The processor is going to need a fan because it gets quite hot without one. This pretty generic fan will do the trick. It had some little square of thermal compound on the bottom here, but it was so dried out I scraped it and cleaned it. You can still kind of see an outline of where it was, but I don't think that's going to matter. We'll set that down for a moment. I'm using some Arctic Silver 5. We're going to put just a little bead right there in the middle. The die for this chip is right in the middle of that, so that'll help. That will help with the cooling. Then we put the heatsink very much right in the middle. Kind of twist it to spread around that thermal compound. The clip on this one is right here in the middle on the side of the processor. We'll hook this side first. If it'll go in there. There we go. This side has a... I'll turn this around so we can see it better. This side has the lever, so we can push that down until it pops into place. This board has a fan header right here that this fan will plug into. Very nice. Now also we will need, just to make sure this board posts, we will need RAM. For that I have a 256 megabyte stick of PC-133 memory, which I hope works. This will be the test for it. The DIMM 1 slot is here, 2 and 3. We're going to put it in DIMM slot number 1. The memory stick has 2 indentions, right there and right there, just as the board does, so we can make sure we don't put it in the wrong way. You just slide it into the guides that are on the side and push until the clasps lock in on the sides. To power this, I have a little bench power supply. It's a Thermaltalkie 600 watt. Now this board has a 20 pin ATX power plug. This 24 pin is the first 20 pins are very much pin compatible with this board, and on this power supply the +4 can be separated, so we can then plug this into the main board just like so. We're going to need a video card as well. For that, I have this GeForce. What is this? This is GeForce 440. It's an AGP card. Just slot that in. This is a DVI connection, and my monitor supports that, so move this DVI plug into position. We'll plug that in. Sorry for pointing the camera at the monitor. I don't have an image capture card just yet. Now let's apply power. Let's hit the power switch and see if this fires up. Once I find the right pins. Well, that got scary. The power supply turned on. The processor was getting rather hot. It's just warm now. But the fan didn't turn. So I have it plugged into this adapter here, and I somehow inadvertently unplugged the monitor. But I think we have all that fixed now. Turn the power supply back on and try this again. There goes the fan. Video card isn't even getting warm. Well, let's stop this. Let me figure this out. Okay. I double checked the jumper settings. I still may have something wrong. I switch the video card out with a PCI video card. Still not seeing anything on there. I attached a PC speaker. It's not giving me any indication. We're going to see if this postcard throws up anything. Nothing at all. Not even a little bit. We can see here, these here, the IRDY and frame lights and the reset light are also not on, and the plus 3.3 volt light isn't on either. Let me double check those jumper settings. After resetting several jumpers, now showing C1, and it stops there. Well, I have the settings jumpers set right now. But it didn't want to post with the PCI card, so I put an AGP card in instead, and we have video. It's recognizing the CPU just right. It's counting up the memory. I don't have any drives or anything connected yet, so see, it tries to auto detect everything in there. Then it'll say floppy drive fail and no keyboard. Let's turn this off, get those connected, and we'll see what we can do with this thing. Alright, the floppy drive I'm going to use is this eBay find. It is a Toshiba. I'm not sure. Made in Japan. I hope it reads 1.44 meg floppy drives, or floppy disk rather. Alright, let's power him back up. There it goes. I have the keyboard in my lap here. We're going to see if it boots from that drive. Let's go into setup real quick. Standard CMOS setup. Looks like that's all we can hope for there currently. We'll just save and exit. Let's see what this does. $128 megabyte stick is what I have in there now. Test OK. Floppy disk fail. That's because I am rather forgetful. I didn't plug in the power connection for that floppy drive. Sorry, my camera died there. Let's try this one more time. Now that I have the floppy drive plugged in, let's see what happens. Still detecting the CPU just fine. It's doing a memory test right now. Let's get the keyboard ready. It tested for the drive just fine. And look at that. It's actually booting a boot virus on the floppy disk. Well, isn't that interesting? For that, let's pop this disk out. We'll put that one aside. I have a second MS-DOS 6.22 boot disk here. I'll pop that in there. Give it the old 3-finger salute. We'll see if that happens again. I've never had that happen before. That's rather interesting. Happened on the second one too, even though it says non-system disk. I wonder if it's detecting something else as a boot virus. That's probably the case. This one says Windows 98 startup disk. We'll try it again. If it happens on this one, I'm going to see if there's not a way to turn that off. Yep, happened again. Let's turn that off. Probably in detect boot virus by trend. Let's disable that. Leave all this other SCSI. There's not a SCSI controller on this board. Anyway, that's the only change we're going to make on this time around. Let's save that. go back to my first disk. Hurry before it. There we go. Oh, it's making an odd noise all of a sudden. And then, yeah, there's no CD-ROM drive on here. This has CD-ROM support, but no drives attached. Got all the usual stuff. Alright, let's connect a hard drive and see if we can't format the hard drive. Okay, for the hard drive I have a compact flash to IDE adapter. I had to move the floppy drive over here. Because I had to use its power connection since this is a Molex to 2 floppy connections. Let's see if we can't format that drive and get it booting off of it instead. Power on. Oh no. Fan came unplugged. I should check these things before I start. Okay, let's see if the fan header on the motherboard works. Oh. It does. That's great news. I guess it wasn't working before because the clock speed wasn't set right and one voltage jumper wasn't set right, so the board wasn't booting. Floppy drive seek sound. It detected the hard drive. We're booting off floppy into DOS. I just love those floppy reading sounds. Okay, first thing we're going to do is make a partition. I'm sure you've seen this several times before in other videos. Let's see what's on there. A non-DOS partition. Let's remove that. Done. Let's create a partition. We'll just answer yes. And it will completely restart the system. The BIOS read it as a 4 GB compact flash card, which is exactly what it is. Guess there's no fooling this motherboard. I should take that out of the configuration files on this boot disk if I'm not going to have a drive. Go back into F-disk and see what it did. Made a roughly 2 GB primary DOS partition. Let's
Let's make an extended partition for the remainder of the space. And we'll make a secondary drive on that. Okay, one more time to reboot. Okay, we're going to format drive C with the system files, but I won't keep you around for that whole process. Formatting that drive is way too quick. I'll show you on formatting what became the D drive. I guess it is essentially a solid state medium. Yes, we want to format it. Just zips right along. This is in real time. I haven't sped anything up. And just like that. Okay, let's pop the disc out. 3-finger salute this guy. We'll see if it boots from the compact flash card. Just like that. Date and time's all wrong, but we can fix that.